So, welcome back to the second day of our CIVIS Days at Sapienza. And so, we are thrilled to have you all gather here today and get started for diving into a great presentation and very inspiring presentation, I mean. So, what to say before passing the floor to the amazing Valerie? So, building on yesterday, the amazing presentation we had yesterday, can I say that the CIVIS Alliance, our alliance, is an example of, inspiring example of being together and of inclusion. And I mean, the energy we had yesterday from the starting to the end of the day will be here today, and hopefully you will be inspired. And let me say that everyone that is part of the CIVIS Alliance is an inspiration, because the Alliance, I mean, is a special, amazing and living community. So it's a great pleasure for me to give the floor to Valerie Caragel, that is the leader of the expert group of the Service Learning and the head of the hub in Aix-Marseille, the CIVIS hub at Aix-Marseille. So it's a great pleasure for me to give the floor to Valerie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear colleagues, to be at this plenary session. It's my pleasure to chair it and facilitate the different interventions. We will have 3 different moments. First, an interview with Pilar Aramburuzabal from Madrid and of Mohammed Moola from Johannesburg. They will show us, thanks to their huge experience, how higher education could be transformed through service learning. Then, we will celebrate the best service learning project of the academic year among 5 universities of CIVIS Alliance participating in an open lab project called Service Learning Awards. And we will disclose the best one of the consortium. To conclude this session, we will have a presentation of CIVIS Creathon projects of these 2 days in Rome, and we will celebrate the best one. Thank you. Now, let me introduce to you our 2 speakers. So, Pilar Aramburuzabal. She holds bachelor degrees in pedagogy and in primary school teaching, master degrees in speech and language therapy and in special education, and a PhD in education. Her training and work experience have developed mainly in Madrid and New York City. She is currently working at the School of Teaching, Training and Education of the Autonomous University of Madrid as an associate professor, where she chaired for 2 years the Department of Pedagogy. Since 1997, she oriented her academic interest towards the fields of civic engagement, education for social justice, and service learning. On these topics, she has experience as a researcher and consultant, and has lectured and published over 150 articles, guides, technical reports, and books. Among them, the one published at Routledge, Embedded Service Learning in European Higher Education, Developing a Culture of Civic Engagement. She has promoted service learning at her university in her country and at European level. She was the founder president of the Spanish Association of Service Learning in Higher Education in 2017, of the European Association in 2019, and of the European Observatory that was created the same year. Within CIVIS, she was a promoter of the Service Learning Expert Group and has participated in multiple training and dissemination activities. In 2014, she led the first Erasmus Plus project on service learning titled Europe Engage, developing a culture of civic engagement through service learning within higher education in Europe. This project aimed at promoting service learning at a pedagogical approach that develops civic engagement in higher education and the creation of a European network. Her work has been recognized with awards, such as the nomination in 2021 as a member of the Academic of Community Engagement Scholarship based in the United States, and the recognition of the General Directorate of Education of the European Commission as a success story for the leadership of the project Europe Engage in 2018. Thanks, Pilar. Mohammed Moola. After graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Physics, Mohammed moved into teaching by completing a higher diploma in education and then a bachelor degree in education, master degree in education, and a PhD in science education. His academic area of research is in what is termed pedagogical content knowledge. And he has been lecturing in this area to master students in education. In the late 1990s, he served as the Dean of the Faculty of Science at Midrand University, the first private university in South Africa. As a dean, he introduced a compulsory community-based module on the final years of the 4 Bachelor of Science programs offered by the faculty. This was his introduction to service learning. He then took up a position at the University of Witswatersrand in 2005 as head of the Community University Partnerships Office. This office was responsible for coordinating all the service learning programs at the university and also for the students' volunteer program. In 2009, he was one of the founding executives of the South African Higher Education Community Engagement Foundation. When the University of Wits had developed an excellent critical mass of service learning practitioners, he moved on in 2015 to head up the Internationalization and Strategic Partnerships Office at the University of Wits. It was in this position that he actively worked to get the university to become an associate member of CIVIS Alliance. He retired from this position at the end of 2024 and now serves as a consultant for the university. Thanks, Mohammed. So now it's time to leave them the floor. I prepared some questions. I would like them to give their opinion. So, to begin, for those in the audience who may be new to the concept, the first question will be, what is service learning and why is it relevant to higher education today? And I will ask the question first to Pilar.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, it's working. Hi. It's an honor and it's a pleasure and a wonderful opportunity to be here today talking to you. Something that I wanted for a long time to speak to or with, the CIVIS authorities and with the rectors and with teachers from the CIVIS Alliance and students and administrative staff. I really wanted to talk to you about what we do and why this is so important. And even more important than that is to ask for your help and support. Because there are a lot of people who are already very conscious and committed about civic engagement and specifically service learning, but not everyone in the CIVIS Alliance knows about this. So what is service learning? Service learning, we say, is a methodology. And you will say, well, a methodology, so much for one methodology. There are so many methodologies, so many instruments the teachers have to help our students to learn. Well, this is not, we call it like that so we can communicate with teachers and with people who do not have to be a specialist in pedagogy, right? But it's not a methodology, it's much more than that. We are talking about a philosophy, a way of looking at the world, a way of looking at citizenship, at education, learning, and at justice also, right? So that's to begin with. And what would be a definition? Well, let me tell you the definition of the European Association of Service Learning in Higher Education, which is common to other, I'm sure Mohammed's definition will be very similar, but the European one has some specificities that I think are very important. Okay, so service learning is a hands-on methodology, it's an experiential methodology that intends to, where the students respond to challenges, to needs, from real-world needs, human and also environmental needs. But they do it while they learn. It's a learning by doing, right? So reciprocity, social justice, critical reflection are key elements in this concept. And students learn and serve, but this is integrated in the curriculum, and this is very important that we focus on this, right? So we understand this service learning is civic engagement, but it's not just any form of civic engagement, it's a very specific form because service learning is embedded in the curriculum. It is integrated in the subjects, in the curriculum, in the degree programs, right? Directly, explicitly connected to any subject from any degree of any university. Why is it so important? And just a few more seconds, and because we all know that the world is and the planet under threat, and the international institutions are reminding us that the universities have a key role to play in this, that we have to come down from our ivory tower and we have to play a key role in solving these situations, these problems.
Thank you, Pilar. Mohammed, can I ask you the same question? The microphone should be open. Yes.
Afternoon, everybody. It's actually a pleasure to be here. So what I would say is that we need to emphasize that service learning is a pedagogy. It's not just something, it is a pedagogical model. So it's a teaching model. And when did service learning actually come, when did the term service learning come into the lexicon? In the late 1960s in America, they started using this term service learning, but when they used it, it wasn't what we talk of service learning now. The people that deal in service learning, that's not what they were talking. They were talking about service learning, and they were referring to internships. So when students were doing an internship, that was called service learning. So yes, although the term came in 1967, around about the middle 1980s, the new definition of service learning came up, and that definition is the one that brings in the integration of the academic studies into this service. So it's a community engagement, but it's involving academic studies. Now, in South Africa, we started service learning in the late 1990s when I was at another university, and then I got to this university where I retired. So our government made it compulsory for all universities to have service learning in their curriculum, and they had a definition of what service learning was, or still is. So I'm going to read that. So the government published a white paper, and this changed the perception of community engagement in higher education from a view of community service as one of three silos. So all over the world, people taught, not people taught, but people had a view that higher education had three silos: teaching, research, and community engagement. So our government, through the South African Higher Education Community Engagement Forum, which we formed, and we had a big influence in the white paper that the government published, we come to an agreement to say there are no three silos in education, in higher education. There are two silos. There is teaching and there is research. And all of that is encompassed with community engagement and service learning. So your service learning is part of your research, and it is part of your teaching. So the definition of service learning in South Africa, it says, service learning refers to a course-based, it has to be course-based, has to be credit-bearing, and in this type of a system, students participate in an organized service activity that meets identified community goals. And then the second point is that it reflects on the service activity in such a way as to gain further understanding of the course content. Now that's where the important part is. The students have to come back and reflect, and they need to get further understanding amongst themselves of the course content, a broader appreciation of the discipline in which they're doing that service learning, and an enhanced sense of civic responsibility. Now, you asked, what is the importance of service learning today? So the importance of service learning in higher education is that students, we help students to learn through active participation in service experiences. We provide them with a structured time to reflect and think and discuss and write about their service experience. It's not just going to the community and painting a wall and coming back. You've got to come back, you've got to discuss what your peers, what your tutor, what your lecturer, everybody. We give the students an opportunity to use their skills and knowledge in real life situations. So it's not, just you come in the class and you have that blackboard experience. You're now going to get the real life experience outside. And then we extend the learning beyond the classroom into the community, because the community must also learn from you. So there must be skills transferred between you and the community. And basically, we're fostering a sense of caring for others. So the key thing that I'm trying to get at is that service learning is a pedagogy. It is nothing new. It is not something that people should be afraid of.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. The second question: what were the main steps in promoting and institutionalizing service learning at your university in your national or regional context, and who or what resisted the most? Can I ask you give you the floor first, Mohammed?
Okay, so I think the key thing for getting service learning going in an institution is to have a champion. You need someone who understands service learning, and if that champion can champion it at the university, it's going to work. So I will give the example, not of my first experience, but the experience of my last employer. We had an office. And as was mentioned, we had an office called, and it's still there, no, it's not there anymore. It's called, used to be called the Community University Partnerships Office. And that office had two goals. One was to look after student volunteerism, which is completely different from service learning. And then we had service learning. And what we did was, when I started there, we did an audit. We sent out an email to staff and we said, all those of you that are doing some type of community engagement activities, please can you let us know? And then we invited them all to a meeting and we looked at what they were doing. And some were doing just community engagement, and some were doing internships, and some were doing experiential learning. Some were doing service learning. And at that stage, this was 2000, many of us didn't even know we were doing service learning. In my experience in 1995, when I was doing service learning, I didn't even know until somebody told me, but that's what you're doing is called service learning. So the same thing, we got these people into a room, we identified the people who were doing service learning, and we said, guys, this is service learning. You are doing service learning. And then we spoke to the other people, and we said, those of you that want to convert your course into a service learning, we're going to have another meeting in a month's time. And then we called them all to a meeting, and we started talking about what is service learning, how do you convert your course from your normal course into a service learning course. And we had monthly meetings every month where we were supporting one another. And the idea was that in the following year, these people will have their courses ready to be service learning courses. So it took us a year. It took us a long time to convert courses, which were just normal chalk and talk courses. I'm talking in the year 2000. Many of us didn't even have all the audiovisual things that we use nowadays. So it was chalk and talk, but we then converted some of these into service learning. What we tried to do, and what the Vice Chancellor told me, was we're not going to make it compulsory for every faculty to have service learning for every student. What we must do is we must make sure that in every faculty there are some service learning courses which students can take. And they have the opportunity, if they want to do it, they can do that. If they don't want to do that, no problem, they will do some other courses. So the courses that were service learning based were not always compulsory, but sometimes they were compulsory. So for example, in the medical sciences, if you were doing your degree to become a normal doctor, there was some service learning, everybody had to do that. In speech and hearing therapy, everybody had to do that. But in engineering, in physics, in chemistry, it wasn't compulsory. So that's how we did it. And then once we had these courses running the next year, we stopped running these meetings every month, but we used to have them every second month. And the idea was to bring people and find out what are the problems that you're having so that we can share amongst one another how we solve these issues. And the key thing, so you asked me, what are the main steps? You need to have funding. And the people at the top, the senior management of the university, needs to understand that there must be funding for this, because you need to train the academics on what to do. You know, most academics don't exactly know what reflection is all about. They don't know what community engagement is all about. They don't know what, all the other things involved with community engagement. So you need an office, and you need some funding. Now, the people that resisted this were mostly the people from the pure sciences, initially. Oh, you can't do community engagement in the pure sciences and things like that. And then I explained to one of the guys one day, I said, when I was in my previous employment, when I was lecturing physics, the community engagement the students did, I told them to go out into a nursery school, find a nursery school and look at a playground and use your physics and use your equations of motion and use all of those things when the children go down the slides, and that work out how far the child will drop from the slide and things like that, and look at the safety aspects around the playground and tell the school, listen, that rock is not in the right place, that's going to hurt the child, because when the child comes down, and they used all their physics to do all of that. And then the guy in physics told me, oh, okay, so we can do that. So slowly you convince these pure scientists, because the health sciences and the humanities people are the first to go into service learning. They will do it. But the others, nowadays at our university, the biggest service learning people are in the field of architecture and town and regional planning and those type of things. People who weren't going to do service learning, but they're doing the most service learning.
Thank you very much. Pilar, from your experience.
Well, first of all, I would like to I'd like to clarify something that I think what Mohammed explained is a little bit different in Europe. The orientation that we are trying to give to service learning in Europe is that this is, I'm not going to say compulsory. Well, first of all, service learning can take different formats. It can be embedded in regular degree subjects, right? I teach theory and politics of education, or I could be teaching, I don't know, structures in architecture, whatever. And I can embed service learning, use it as one of the many methodologies that I use in my class, right? So, but it can be an external internship, or it can be a final undergraduate dissertation or a master's dissertation, or it can be specific courses with credits, always credits assigned to the service learning course or module, right? Okay, and these modules can be optional, voluntary, but if I use service learning in my class, I can make it voluntary, but I could not. If I make it voluntary, I'm being like very coherent with the nature of this methodology. But if I, as a teacher, decide that this is going to be compulsory, this is perfectly fine. Because if I make it voluntary, who will choose it? The ones who don't need it. The ones who are already sensitive and committed, right? And because I am in an educational institution and I truly believe that we are here not just to help our students learn our subject and hopefully at the end of the career they have developed some professional skills, but I believe that I'm here for helping my students, yes, to be professionally competent, but not just for themselves, but for the good of others, for the well-being of humanity, for those who need it the most, for becoming engaged citizens, right? So if I believe that, and I know that if I offer it as a volunteer, in a volunteer basis, I know that the ones who don't need it are the ones who are going to choose it. So that's, I think, something that is important, and that's why in Europe we have decided that, okay, service learning can be volunteer, can be mandatory, but please keep in mind that this is not just for some, the ones who don't need it, or this is just for some subjects or for some degrees. Because if we understand, okay, this is for the helping professions, but in the helping professions, they don't need to develop this sensitiveness. They have it, right? So we have to focus even more specifically on those degrees that are like, come on, this is what am I going to do in my so technical subject or so theoretical subject? Well, can you please help your students to understand what can they do with that knowledge, with that theoretical or technical, highly technical knowledge for the good of the others? That's something I think is important. But anyway, sorry, Valerie, because it's not the question that you asked. The question was in my university at UAM, we started in 2008 as isolated. This is a snowball thing. It's the story of contagion. You know, sometimes it's going slowly, isolated experiences here and there, and sometimes some people, some universities are very lucky, and it comes from from, you know, the top, and everything is much easier then. But usually it's like in my university, little by little, a few people, they get together and they, you know, start training others. And finally, a few years ago, 2 years ago, right, Marisa, there is not an official office of service learning, but it's called a committee. There is a central structure, which is the key thing here. Still no funds, you know, no stability. We depend too much on the rectoral team. Now we have support, but who knows afterwards. So, and also, yes, the time. In what is happening in Spain, things are going quite good. It is already in the General National Law of Higher Education. And even the Agency of Accreditation for Degrees is now having a working group on service learning and reviewing the standards for accreditation. So things are going pretty well. And in Europe there is a little bit of everything. Some countries are still like, you know, just maybe one person here and there. And in other countries, there are national associations, and a lot of universities have already institutionalized service learning, so there is a big variety, you know. And that's it. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Pilar. I will ask you...
Can I just clarify something?
Yes.
So when I said it's not compulsory, what I meant was, in certain instances, it's not compulsory, but I think in 80% of the service learning courses, you have to do it. There's no choice, you must do it. But there are certain areas, and those are the areas in subjects where people are already compassionate, people know about community involvement. So you don't want those people to, you don't want them to go and do things that they already know. So there it's not compulsory, but in many other subjects, 80% of the modules, everybody has to do it. And that is not just at our university, that's at all the 26 universities in the country.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Pilar, I will ask you first, based on your experience, is CIVIS ready to make service learning part of its academic DNA? What could or should be done next to really and successfully embed service learning across institutions and curricula? I will ask you both for quicker answers, yes, not for us to run out of time. Okay. So,
is it ready? Well, yes and no. Is ready? Well, this is a civic alliance. That's a big plus. But I think we have not completed the circle. We have not gone all the way. Going all the way means that we, and I'm sorry because I know that some people don't like this word, but it has to be institutionalized. Without institutional support, there is so far that we can go, right? But in CIVIS, a civic alliance, we have to go all the way through. This has to be a transversal, a central axis, right? And unless we do this, I mean, I wish I could tell you, oh, there are many ways of getting our students to develop their civic engagement, this commitment with the others, with the most vulnerable ones. I'm a pedagogue. I don't know of another methodology. If you know of another one, please go ahead. But this, as far as I know, is the most complete, and I would say the only methodology that really goes to the core of it, right? Because it connects the curriculum with the service to society, right? So, yes, because we have done a lot. I mean, the expert group, wonderful leader, of the expert group, is doing lots of things, guides, training, dissemination, right? It is, and lots of activities, isolated activities. Unless, and this is for the CIVIS rectors, you commit to make it real, unless we go to the core of it, unless we take it to the rooms, to the classrooms, and we organize it in such a way that like Mohammed was saying, make sure that every student, not all the subjects have to use service learning. I mean, that's not reasonable, that's not logical, that's not feasible. But when this is institutionalized, we can organize it so we make sure that every student in the CIVIS Alliance has the opportunity to at least once in the degree, once participate in a service learning project, because we know from research that once a student participates in a service learning project, it develops a commitment that lasts for the rest of his or her life. So that person will be much more, what's the word in English? Committed, prone to, individually or through an association, to give to the others. And again, I'm finished. Remember, in service learning, we are not talking about giving a service to anyone. We are talking about from the social justice perspective, right? So we're talking about giving a service to those who need it the most vulnerable people, communities, and the planet, who is in an environment that is unfortunately very much in need. Okay, so.
Thank you, Pilar. Let's listen to Mohammed.
Yeah, Valerie, I don't think I'm the right person to say anything, but in my discussions with people before today, when you invited me to be part of this discussion, I spoke to a number of people, and I think your question is service ready for service learning? I don't think you are ready for service learning, and I'll tell you why. In my discussions with people from various universities, I found that the majority of the CIVIS university members, maybe just the people I spoke to, don't have an understanding of what service learning is all about. So if you don't understand what service learning is all about, how can you be ready for it? So I think that's my blunt answer, and my VC is smiling there because he knows I give you blunt answers. So my blunt answer is, I think you're not ready, but so then your next question was, what must CIVIS do to get itself ready? So you got to make sure that all your 11 full members and also your associate members all understand what service learning is, that it is a pedagogy, it's nothing new, it's not magic or anything, and it's there for the benefit of the students in the community. And then the second thing is the senior management at all of the 16 universities need to be fully supporting this. And when I say fully supporting it, you need to have a service learning office. Initially, it doesn't have to be a service learning office. It needs to be like we had at our university, a community university partnerships office. So you're doing voluntary work, you're doing all of that, but there will be a pillar there called service learning. So I think all the service universities need to establish that. And once you've done that, then you can interact amongst yourselves. From the discussions we had, it looks like there's about 4 or 5 universities that are ready, but you need to get all of them at that level, and then you need to start discussing, and then maybe we can say, now CIVIS is ready. But the key thing, when Christian phoned me many years ago, sent me an email to say, would you like your university to be part of CIVIS? And when I read up about CIVIS, and I saw that CIVIS was the civic engagement network for Europe, I said, that's what we want to be. We want to be part of the CIVIS, the civic engagement, because our university is a civic engaged university. And then when I looked at it, as the activities started coming along, there wasn't a lot of civic engagement happening.
Thank you, Mohammed. So before the fourth questions, just in two brackets. In the expert group service learning, we are creating guides to initiate the process. And on the two sides of the room, you have posters with the QR code you can flash for the guide for service learning for lecturers. First guide we have completed, and we are writing others. So I closed the brackets. Fourth question. I will ask it first to Mohammed. Looking ahead, what role could CIVIS play at the African and European levels in promoting service learning, especially in fostering international and interdisciplinary projects, and what could hold us back?
Yeah, so Valerie, when you told me that that's going to be the question, I then went back to go and look at the CIVIS website. And this is what I saw on the CIVIS website. It says, CIVIS will unite efforts and experiences to develop a European university with strong links to its local, social, and geographical environment and an orientation towards global challenges. So you're openly saying that that's what you want to do. So there's none of the other 64 networks that are claiming that that's what they want to do. So you claiming you want to do that, therefore you need to set the example to these other people. In my discussions with one or two other groups, I mentioned one, UNA Europe, they're going to look towards you to be the leaders because you said you want to be the civic engaged universities network. So that's the role that you need to play. But before you can play that role, as I said, you're going to expand from the 4 or 5 that are doing service learning to everybody. And once you can get that, then you can get more people getting involved in the European Association for Service Learning in Higher Education, because now, you know, you are the leaders, you can tell people what to do. So I think you must play the key role.
Thank you, Mohammed. And in this alliance, we have a tool, the Open Labs, can help support for that. Pilar, can I ask you the same question?
Yes. Well, first, let me tell you that during these 2 days I have been seeing, I didn't know, well, I'm a simple teacher, right? I don't have a view of CIVIS, and so, but these 2 days I have been listening about CIVIS 3 and Inclusive Alliance, and I think that is wonderful, that we take inclusivity as a flag is so important, right? So necessary. But still we are CIVIS, the Civic Alliance, and we haven't completed our task, right? So don't forget that before we move into still being a civic alliance has to be our flag. And we have the wonderful opportunity. I mean, in Europe, service learning is just beginning. And what we do is very important. It's very important for other European universities and for other European alliances. And if we don't take this flag of the service learning, right, of embedding this in the curriculum, other, as Mohammed was saying, other alliances are going to do it. There are already 3, at least, that I know of that have a focus on service learning, right? And they are just going to fly, you know, next to us. And I think that we have that wonderful opportunity to complete this work, right? So when we think on CIVIS 3, you know, that's why, one of the reasons why I was so happy that we had this opportunity to talk to all of you, to the rectors, to the steering committee, to the team who is thinking and developing this CIVIS 3. Please keep this in mind, put it on top of the desk, that this needs to be done, that this it is part of our DNA, and it should be part of our personality, our idiosyncrasy, and our flag. You know, in our own institutions, in our CIVIS universities, service learning is being offered to all our students. So that's the most important thing that CIVIS 3 can do.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Pilar. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for your answers. We can applaud them. Thank you. And then to conclude, I asked two of our colleagues to give some brief comment about what they have heard and answer questions. So I would like to invite on the stage Stefan Lang, our General Secretary, and Magnus Breitholtz, head of the CIVIS 3 Task Force. Yes, we will have chairs for you on the stage. So I would like you to give us a feedback and answer the question, what do you think CIVIS 3 can do to embed service learning in the Alliance? Or in other words, how can CIVIS 3 embed service learning transversally within the Alliance? Stefan?
Yeah, thanks a lot. First of all, I mean, this is really a moving moment to me as well. Yeah, not only for both of you who are representing this topic, at least half a lifetime, I would say, at least your academic life. And we actually agreed with Magnus that we would take up the statements that have been brought by our experts, and I will more or less take over, let's say, the global perspective or the transcontinental. It's not yet global in that sense, but it's at least transcontinental perspective represented by Mohammed, and you will take over a little bit the European from Pilar. Because, of course, we have to think of both, and I personally think what has been said, it's clear, it should be in our DNA. It is a uniting theme. It is something that, even though, of course, we have different traditions in Europe and Africa, but we also have a common history, and that is, I think, our responsibility to take it up jointly and having this as a kind of a comprehensive topic. And moreover, of course, the challenges are pretty much the same. In this case, we duly can, as Europeans, I think we can duly learn from the African experience, because in most of the challenges, you're even closer to the experience than we are, but of course, vice versa. So it's really a mutual topic, it's a bridging topic. It is at the DNA, as you say, and I think it is something we duly have to see as a USP for CIVIS 3. Be more confident to what we have, like our acronym is CIVIS. We won't change that. We stick to that, obviously. But we have to time and again, it seems, reinvent what is actually the core of our endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Magnus, the floor is yours.
I need a mic. Okay. Thank you. Nice to be here, and thanks for listening to your very thoughtful, expressions about service learning, which I have to say I'm not an expert on. I think that's why I'm here, partly to reflect upon service learning without being an expert. But then again, I was thinking, well, you mentioned that it's a methodology, it's a pedagogy. And I think I have it. I have it in my DNA. I always thought about service learning without knowing the concept. You talked about it in '95, I was doing service learning, but I wasn't aware. So I think I'm pretty much the same. Then you mentioned that it has to be in the curricula, it has to be, not only here and there. It needs to be sort of embedded in everything. Perhaps not everything, but it should be embedded. And then I was thinking, you mentioned a lot about it's the service to society. That's sort of the core. And I fully agree. But then I was wondering, isn't it something else? Because I don't think that has necessarily been my perspective in my hybrid service learning activities, which I've always done as a teacher. I've seen it more as part of my didactics or pedagogy. It's the way to get motivated. It's the way how you learn. It's the way how you get interested. And you never touched upon that, but I guess that is sort of part of it as well. I guess you can speak an hour about that, but I would just like to mention it. To me, that is perhaps one thing is not more important than the other. I think both are important, but that is to me what drives me to always try to get my students to reflect, to write diaries, etc., etc. Although I'm not sort of orthodox service learning teacher in that sense. But to me, it's to get motivated, to learn more, to find out new directions. I learned something, I got motivated. I want to perhaps take another course. I want to go to another place. I want to be mobile. I want to see another country. So yeah, that was one perspective. And short comment, sorry, I know this should be brief. Yes, it is in our DNA. But as you know, not all DNA is expressed. So I think we have some work to do to make our DNA expressed a little bit better, perhaps. Yeah.
Thank you.
They're not allowed to respond.
Thank you. Thank you, Magnus, for that. Mohammed would like to say a word. Our experts want to say a word.
So I just wanted to say, service learning is not service to the community, because that is a one-way thing. Service learning is a two-way thing. So you're doing service to the community, but the community is also assisting you to learn various things. And when you come back and you reflect, you take your subject knowledge is now enhanced by having gone to the community. So it's a two-way thing. It's never a one-way thing.
Yes, I agree totally. Reciprocity. We always say in service learning, we don't work in the community or for the community, but with the community. And here the preposition is everything, right? And yes, motivation is very important. And I wanted to say very quickly a few things. One, service learning and inclusive education are very much linked. Service learning is a very inclusive methodology on itself, right? I want to thank Stream 1 for embracing service learning. Thank you very much. And one more thing, think about the potential and the novelty, how innovative. This in Europe is absolutely innovative, and we should lead this. Inter-university and multidisciplinary projects. And then CIVIS can also help us, and I finish with this. We have been trying from the European Association and for many years knocking on the European Union doors, and there is no way. So maybe CIVIS, you know, this is a big alliance. You can do something about. There are no specific. Yes, they fund Erasmus Plus projects based on using service learning, but there is no specific program or a call for service learning, and it would be so easy for them, even for mobility. There is already Erasmus Plus mobility programs, and what about making a line for mobility for service learning? That would be, I think, and as we say in Spanish, it's a matter of, I agree with you, Mohammed, funds are very important, but we don't need, it's not necessary so much money. We say in Spanish the 3 B's, bueno, bonito, barato. Service learning is bueno, bonito, and barato. It's nice, it's good, and it's inexpensive. And when we say nice, we mean very motivational, yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pilar. I think we can conclude on that words, and thanks our 4 speakers for their inspiring thoughts and their experience feedback. Thank you very much. So let us go to the second part of this plenary session. And now, let us celebrate our students and professors implementing service learning project in our alliance. These awards are a project it was an application at the Open Lab rolling call where 5 universities took part in. It was a competition for selecting the best service learning project of the academic year. It was organized in each institution. A local jury was constituted with a professor experimented in service learning, a representative of students, a representative of local community, and a representative of the governance of the university. An event was organized locally to celebrate these projects and to elect the best one according to the grid of criteria inspired by the quality guide for service learning of the European Association for Service Learning in Higher Education. So now, I will announce the universities participating, the name of the project, and the representative participant. They should be sitting on the first row. Not all of them could attend, so we have a representative of the teams here. And I will call them and give them first a certificate of participation to thank them for this wonderful project that was run. And then we will talk about the best project in the Alliance. In this consortium, I would say, only 5 universities participating. So I will call them in an alphabetical order of the town. It was a choice to do this like that. So, by chance, the first one is Aix-Marseille University. So I will call Aix-Marseille University team with their association Illuminate to engage for the project Fighting Online Hatred, a fight against all forms of discrimination. Please, I call the students in master degree of digital law. Emma Daraghi, Ines Ferrat, Manon Villanova, and their professor, Philippe Mouron. Come on, please. So we can take some photos. Have a photo with them. The second university was the University of Bucharest. So the team couldn't attend, but we have their representative. The project was named Careers and was coordinating by Rares Tronaru, sorry for the pronunciation, and Constantin Ionut from the faculties of Business and Administration. And they worked on increasing student employability for facilitating networking opportunities with direct employers. So I will give the certificates to our colleagues Flavia Vendetti and Laura Trevisan for the students, but also themselves, and Magdalena Plattis, the Open Lab coordinator that support this project. I must say, usually I don't like to be taken in photo. But shall we go to the third project, third university? The Autonomous University of Madrid, and the project called Active Nature Plus. I will ask the students, Irene Hernando and Daniel Gaite, to come on the stage. Are they there? I didn't met that, sorry. And also the professor, Fernando, what's your name? Please help me. Fernando Martinez. Then we have the fourth one is the one from Sapienza, our host. For that project, Renewal Energy for Communities. The team of students, I don't have their name because they are from here, there are 10 students, and their professor, please, could you calm them? So I have the name on the certificate. Angelica Di Fabrizio, Andrea Micangeli, Daniele Micangeli, Felipe Micangeli, Lucas Forza, Nicole Bernoni, Mariela Van Ginkel, Michael Cosareye, Martina Marchetti, Tommaso Galozzi, Uwe Nerulani. That's all. Sorry for the names. So, the fifth university participating in this project, the University of Salzburg with their project U3 Green. I will call Maximilian Grun as the representative of the project, of the team, I would say. The team was composed with Sabine Hennig, Robert Vogler, Tim Schultz, and Maximilian was there to support. So, now, you remember those are the best service learning projects of each university participating. We said we had local juries. To elect the best service learning project in this consortium, we had also a jury, an international jury with the same structure that the local ones. So we had a chair. I was the chair of the jury without any vote, just coordinating everything. I will ask the person in presence here who were in the jury to stand up, please. So, as the representative of the governance, so in that case, CIVIS Alliance, we had in the jury Stefan Lang, please. Yes! To represent the expertise on service learning for the teachers, we asked to Iris Nikolopoulos from Tübingen to be also in the jury. Iris is in charge of civic engagement in her university. She is the coordinator of civic engagement expert group in CIVIS and a representative also of the service learning expert group in CIVIS for her university. We also had a student representative in the jury. So we chose a student that was trained for service learning in her education field of studies. So I ask Noor El Madkouri from Madrid University to join us. And the last person in the jury, the last representative was for our partners. We asked, she is not here today, but we asked to Berta Pass, who is the vice president of the European Association for Service Learning in Higher Education. So thanks to the jury for their evaluation of the projects.
Thank you, wonderful Valerie.
I want a photo. Thank you very much. Great. So,
And in learning.
we are going to watch videos, 3-minute videos of each project locally awarded. So I will ask my colleague Manon. I thank Manon upstairs for all the technical organizational things. And I also would like to thank Malisa, who helped us also for all that. So, let's see the project, the videos of the project, and of course we will begin with Aix-Marseille University. Thank you.
Ces messages vous choquent? Ce ne sont que quelques exemples parmi des centaines de milliers postés chaque jour sur les réseaux sociaux. En 2024, la haine en ligne a augmenté de 16% selon l'observatoire Bodyguard. Parmi 3,8 milliards de commentaires analysés, 108 millions étaient haineux. En France, 53% des internautes ont déjà été exposés à ces contenus, mais seulement 20% prennent la peine de les signaler. Les secteurs les plus touchés, les médias et le sport. Sur X, un message haineux apparaît toutes les 4 minutes. Sur Instagram, toutes les 13 minutes. Alors, comment agir? Signaler, c'est le premier réflexe à avoir. Et c'est ce que nous, étudiants du Master droit du numérique de la faculté de droit d'Aix-en-Provence, avons décidé de promouvoir avec notre collectif Illuminate to Engage. Pour signaler un contenu, rendez-vous sur le réseau social de votre choix. Nous avons choisi X pour vous montrer. Vous y trouverez malencontreusement de nombreux contenus haineux, certains sont repérables grâce à des mots-clés, mais attention, l'objectif n'est pas de propager la haine, mais bien de l'arrêter. Sélectionnez un commentaire haineux et assurez-vous qu'il soit bien public. Cliquez sur les 3 petits points à côté du post, puis choisissez « Signaler du contenu illégal dans le E ». Vous serez ensuite redirigé vers une page dédiée, remplissez les informations demandées. Indiquez comme pays la France ou l'Union européenne pour que le contenu soit géobloqué au plus grand nombre, puis choisissez la nature juridique de l'infraction. Nous sommes ici en présence d'une injure au sens du droit français. Enfin, la zone de texte demandant le plus de détails, précisez l'article de loi correspondant. Une fois le signalement effectué, la plateforme vous enverra un mail de confirmation. Vous serez ensuite informé de la prise de décision, du délai de réponse et le cas échéant du motif de refus de suppression. La loi réprime les discriminations, mais seule la prévention permet de les éviter durablement. Le signalement est un geste simple, mais qui exige de connaître le droit. Or, tout le monde ne l'utilise pas. C'est pourquoi nous agissons en sensibilisant, en formant, en expliquant. Chaque signalement est un pas vers la disparition des discours haineux. La haine n'a ni sa place sur les réseaux, ni ailleurs. La discrimination blesse, divise, affaiblisse la société dans son ensemble. Fidèle à ses valeurs, Illuminate to Engage agit concrètement. Aux côtés de la LICRA, nous luttons contre les discours racistes et discriminatoires. Notre engagement est local, académique, mais aussi profondément européen. 2790, c'est le nombre de signalements effectués en 2 mois par les 35 membres du collectif. Et vous, combien en ferez-vous? La lutte contre les discriminations est l'affaire de toutes et tous. Ne restez pas passifs, agissez.
Let's go through Bucharest University video, the project of careers.
Nevoia socială pe care noi am identificat-o în rândul grupului țintă, și anume studenților FUA, este dificultatea angajării fără experiență pe perioada studiilor universitare sau găsirea unui loc de efectuare a stagiilor de practică. Astfel, prin intermediul acestui proiect, noi ne dorim să creștem rata de angajabilitate în rândul studenților și să facilităm oportunitățile de networking și interacțiune cu angajatorii direcți. În cazul proiectului nostru, am avut un grad ridicat de interacțiune dintre partenerii sociali prin implicarea activă a 11 companii și 3 instituții publice, precum NN Asigurări, Regina Maria, Cat Music, Avon, Autobroker, BCR, McKen, PNG, KPMG, Deloitte, Vim și instituțiile publice ANDR, INA și ANFP. Partenerii au contribuit atât logistic cât și informațional prin susținerea sesiunilor de networking, organizarea workshop-urilor și oferirea oportunităților de practică și de angajare. Colaborarea s-a realizat prin întâlniri preliminare și prin menținerea unei comunicări constante pe tot parcursul proiectului, dar și după finalizarea acestuia pentru a asigura procesul de follow-up. Când vine vorba despre obiectivele sociale, obiectivele educaționale și conexiunea cu area curriculară sau disciplina, noi am avut mai multe obiective, printre care și crearea contextelor sociale între angajatori și beneficiarii direcți, pentru a le oferi oportunități de angajare sau stagii de practică studenților în timpul desfășurării proiectului nostru. De asemenea, un alt obiectiv pe care noi l-am avut a fost desfășurarea a 3 workshop-uri de către PNG, NN Asigurări și BCR pe parcursul acelor 3 zile de proiect pentru a facilita dezvoltarea personală. Când vine vorba despre resursele folosite, noi ne-am ajutat de către resursele umane și anume 40 de voluntari, printre care și 2 manageri de proiect, pentru a asigura buna desfășurare a activităților. De asemenea, resursele materiale utilizate din patrimoniul asociației au contribuit la o bună desfășurare a proiectului nostru, printre care se numără Roll-Up ASA, Spider ASA, aparat foto, sistem de sonorizare, videoproiector și materiale de papeterie. După implementarea proiectului cariere, se pot trage următoarele concluzii. Receptivitatea studenților este foarte mare în legătură cu oportunitățile de dezvoltare profesională atunci când li se oferă un cadru accesibil pentru a lua contact cu specialiști în domeniul preferat de către aceștia. Comunicarea eficientă cu partenerii sociali este elementul care stă la baza unei bune organizări pentru a asigura un program care să satisfacă atât nevoile participanților cât și al partenerilor. Crearea unui sistem de colectare și al distribuirii de CV-uri către angajatori a eficientizat acest proces și a crescut accesibilitatea participanților la stagii de practică sau locuri de muncă. Proiectul Cariere este unul dintre proiectele de tradiție a Asociației Studenților de la Administrație și Afaceri, astfel că a ajuns deja la cea de-a 10-a ediție, desfășurată cu succes. Astfel, am dobândit resursele informaționale pentru a asigura sustenabilitatea proiectului, pentru evaluarea constantă a rezultatelor, dar și pentru colectarea și centralizarea feedback-ului pentru a aduce un plus de valoare edițiilor viitoare. Cariere 2025 a avut următoarele rezultate. Aproximativ 180 de beneficiari direcți, 11 companii și 3 instituții publice, 134 de CV-uri colectate și transmise angajatorilor mai departe și 3 workshop-uri susținute de către companii.
So the third project is the one from University Autonomous of Madrid.
Active Nature Plus is a hands-on learning initiative developed as part of the course Outdoor Physical and Sports Activities, offered in the second year of the bachelor's degree in Physical Activity and Sports Sciences of the Autonomous University of Madrid during the 24-25 academic year. The project brought together 98 undergraduate students, over 90 participants from 6 different community groups, and 3 faculty members responsible for the course. Designed to bridge academic learning with community engagement, the project used outdoor physical activity as a tool for social connection. It was carried out in collaboration with organizations working with groups experiencing vulnerability or social exclusion. Students work in small teams from the beginning of the semester, with the project accounting for 5 points toward their final course grade. Activities took place in both urban and rural natural settings, involving direct engagement with local communities. This approach encouraged learning that is place-based, adaptable, and grounded in social responsibility. The core aim of Active Nature Plus was to address real social challenges and meet the specific needs of the participating communities through nature-based physical activities. These activities were designed by the students themselves in close coordination with course instructors and partner organizations. The project collaborated with a range of community partners, including older adults from the AMA's senior residents, individuals who are imprisoned through the NGO United for Development, women experiencing homelessness, migrants and refugees supported by the Fashion Foundation, and individuals with intellectual disabilities from the Promentor Prodis program and the Aparis Association. Active Nature Plus was structured around 5 sub-projects: Elderly in Green, Walk to Transform, Naturally Included, Inclusive Adventure, and Naturally Activated, each tailored to the unique context and needs of its respective community. The project aligns with 5 Sustainable Development Goals: people, planet, partnerships, prosperity, and peace. It promotes collective action, long-term commitment, social awareness, meaningful dialogue, and critical reflection. Students took part in mentoring sessions, maintained reflective field journals, and created final videos capturing their journeys. Evaluation focused on the impact not only on student learning, but also on the communities involved. drawing on tangible outcomes, critical reflections, and communication efforts through social media and other platforms. And finally, a reminder, walking together through nature isn't just about movement.
Let's go through U3 Green video from Salzburg.
What exactly is U3 Green?
U3 Green, this project that is funded by the Austrian Federal Ministry for Women, Science and Research is a project that aims at understanding and promoting more child and youth friendly urban landscapes, and this particular by providing more urban green areas, more urban green in general in cities. Behind this project there is the fact, if we want to have cities being worth living in, and this includes child and youth friendly cities, we have quite huge problems that requirements of young people are not very well known. And if we have some knowledge regarding this requirements knowledge is quite poor, well, these requirements differ quite significantly from those of adults. And then planners in general do not really understand such requirements. So it's one term of knowing what people want, but another aspect is that they really have also to understand how can I address these requirements.
What are the learning objectives of this project?
Yeah, well, I mean, the objects we have, including your learning objects, are first of all that we really want to understand the importance and the relationship between urban green and young people. So this is our first objective. And then the second objective is to really understand young people's needs regarding urban green. We really rely on their participation, on their involvement to tell us what they like and how can we address these aspects. So improving participation of young people is another aspect of U3 Green. And by involving young people, well, here a quite important learning objective is that we, by having young people involved, we really want to build 21st century skills and competencies. So this refers to all these soft skills, team building, cultural sensitiveness, but also digital and geomedia skills. Our first stop was just to understand the basics in terms of relationship with young people and urban green. So here we did literature review, but we also had a quite simple questionnaire asking young people just a general idea about urban green. Then based on this information, we were developing an app, an online questionnaire, which could be answered using an app. And in this questionnaire, people were able also to map their favorite sites, their favorite urban green regarding to a particular city. And then in the third step, we were collecting the data, means we were running the questionnaire using the survey. And in the fourth step, the data collected was analyzed and interpreted. And in the fifth step now, the analyzed and interpreted data is now communicated, or we are realizing some innovative geovisualization media to communicate our results to relevant stakeholders, city planners and others, so they can learn or understand what young people's needs are in terms of urban green. And the work was complicated due to the fact that we were involving in the different steps many young people, because without their help, without their involvement, we are really not able to understand what they want, what they like, and how we can address their needs. And for this, we were running many school workshops, and we had short-term internship students as well as long-term internship students. And then they were involved in these different 4 steps due to many different activities, different tools, different methods, and so on.
So we have 5 projects. It's wonderful to see that we do have very strong projects that implemented in a very good way some elements of service learning methodology, and we have other projects that implemented the whole process. Many thanks to all of you, to the 5 projects were really interesting.
Cos'è il Fistadi? Il Fistadi è un'esperienza di vita, prima che professionale. È un'esperienza dove tu vieni catapultato letteralmente nel giro di 24 ore in una realtà, in un mondo che è totalmente diverso dal tuo.
In East Africa in particolare, in 3 paesi che sono l'Uganda, il Ruanda e il Kenya.
Allora, le attività pratiche aerodendere si sono divise tra una parte di laboratorio e una parte di questionari da somministrare alla popolazione. La parte che vediamo adesso era la parte esterna, la parte di laboratorio. Nella fattispecie qui si dimostrava il funzionamento del sistema OSEC, un sistema di on-site electrochlorination per fare ipoclorito di sodio, quindi un disinfettante. È un villaggio che fino a poco tempo fa non era attaccato alla rete elettrica nazionale e non aveva un sistema di distribuzione dell'acqua. Quindi l'acqua veniva presa dalla palude e la corrente non era contemplata. Adesso hanno una mini grid con la quale hanno avviato delle attività imprenditoriali. Quindi anche gli stessi operatori industriali, quindi anche il saldatore e il falegname, ok, tu li metti in condizione di poter usare un nuovo macchinario.
Vediamo anche le immagini del campo profughi di New Manzi, in Uganda, nel nord dell'Uganda, al confine con il Sud Sudan. E vediamo le immagini della pompa, del solar pumping, che permette l'arrivo di acqua potabile alle fontanelle locali. Esatto, un'immagine che sicuramente rimane impressa e è difficile da togliersi dalla testa e dal cuore, è il mare giallo di taniche intorno alla fontanella, che non funzionando al massimo potenziale faceva sì che si creasse una fila di famiglie, ognuna con la propria tanica, ad aspettare l'acqua. E quindi il bello è stato mettersi lì a capire qual era il problema insieme e mettersi a risolverlo, quindi chiamare gli installatori locali per sostituire i pannelli che non funzionavano e girare il mercato del villaggio di Aggiumani per trovare gli attrezzi giusti per pulire i pannelli, salire sui pannelli, mettersi a pulire e scoprire che una volta che sono stati puliti i pannelli, una volta che sono stati mantenuti, una volta che sono stati sostituiti i pannelli rotti e montati quelli nuovi, la pompa funziona veramente il triplo di quello che funzionava prima.
Stavo guardando un momento di formazione. In questo caso sono le nostre ragazze che hanno fatto un corso per le donne che fuggono da una guerra civile del Sud Sudan. Una guerra che le ha portate in un paese diverso, con pochissimi mezzi di sussistenza e chiaramente spesso senza elettricità e acqua. Sono Andrea Micangeli, insegno sistemi energetici alla Sapienza e in varie altre università in Africa e negli Stati Uniti.
Sono partito con il professor Andrea Micangeli, mio docente di sistemi energetici, e sono partito anche con un po' di amici, colleghi di università.
In realtà noi una volta all'anno partiamo, a volte 2, quindi chi volesse darci una mano, chi volesse mettersi in gioco, non importa se ingegnere, economista, esperto di ambiente, esperto di culture, esperto di letteratura, chi vuole venire è benvenuto e non solo è benvenuto ma è necessario. Grazie.
I apologize to Sapienza team for skipping the video, the wonderful video and wonderful project. Sorry. So, for the international jury, it was not easy to decide who was the winner. To borrow Stefan Lang's words, the most important outcome is an increasing awareness about service learning in the Alliance as a strategy to make both students and teachers engage with public concerns. The 5 projects all together nicely illustrate the variety of options and opportunities that can be explored. And here I quote again Stefan Lang. Again, what we can say, the award ceremony during the CIVIS Days will set a strong statement for this new way of engaging learning, even though we have identified one well-deserved winner, which set the spotlight on one university. We shall underline the fact that as we transgress our academic boundaries in collaborating with public and private organizations, we also need to think transborderly between our universities and draw for synergies and complementarities to our unique network generates. So, the assessment process was highly tight. 2 projects exemplified a strong application of service learning principle across all criteria: integration of the project into the curricula, credit recognition, reflection and dissemination activities, reciprocity, and above all, the social justice perspective, which involves learning by providing a service to disadvantaged individuals, community, and natural environments in response to real needs and in collaboration with community partners. So, 2 projects. We can say that the project from Madrid team demonstrated particular strength in its integration of service learning into the curriculum and its focus on sustainability. The Sapienza team project was notable for its collaborative approach and hybrid service learning model. So you have understood who are the 2 very tight, highly tight projects, but we had to choose one. So, although both projects were excellent, as you can notice through their videos, the jury awarded the final prize to UAM team for their project Active Nature Plus. This decision was based on the project's effective alignment on both the service and the learning with core European values, particularly the inclusion of vulnerable population. Moreover, the project is defined in great details, making it more easily replicable in other CIVIS universities and across other European university alliances. Finally, it turns out that its potential to become an international initiative involving students from different disciplines and different CIVIS universities. So these are the words of the international jury. So the prize for this team, the prize for these 2 students representing the team will be a mobility for next year in CIVIS. So, for example, we can discuss it together later and with your institutional coordinator, but you could have a participation in the CIVIS Days next year that will take place in Bucharest next June. Bravo! I have so. Please come. Yes. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for all the teams for participating in the ESL Awards. Now it's time to leave the floor to the Creathon team for the awards of the Creathon. Katerina. Katerina is here. Who is Katerina? Shoina? Katerina? I leave the floor to Katerina. Who is she? You are? Ah, okay.
Can we
Yeah, you can hear
I
me.
would, oh, perfect,
Yeah,
perfect,
it's all right,
perfect.
yeah.
Okay. So we were told that we are short on time.
Yes.
So we'll try to be prompt. However, we'd like to take the proper time to give the awards to the amazing participants in the Creathon. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear CIVIS colleagues.
Dear esteemed hosts, first of all, on behalf of the entire Creathon organizing team and the CIVIS Student Council, we want to thank you.
All of you, for your presence, your energy, and your ideas over these 2 inspiring days.
We also wish to warmly thank the jury members, Robin Lebrun, Georg Hausenberger, Modre Bibu, the communication unit collaboration and support we had together, Maria Isabel Soldevilla, Mariana Contolatu, Esther Malis, and Jean Sajot.
We do not stop here. We also want to thank Manuel Halseband from Tübingen University for pedagogical advice, and of course, institutional coordinators involved in the Creathon, Erik Rosenberg from Stockholm University, Ulla Harmala from Université Libre de Bruxelles, Raluca Amza from University of Bucharest, Ilias Antoniou from National Capodistrian University of Athens, Yves Leschel from Paris-London University of Salzburg, Tina Fernandez from Universidad Autónoma de Madrid, Céline Renaud from University of Glasgow, and last but not least, Yves Lorguet from Aix-Marseille University.
Special thanks to the local team here in Rome from Sapienza University, and especially to Tiziana Mortel and Melissa Fizeri, and of course our participants online and offline who were the heart of this process. This Creathon was never just about competition. From the very beginning, our vision was to create a shared space for collaboration, creativity, and meaningful dialogue through the student-led projects. And we think that we've truly done that. The title said it all. Over-tourism, a European problem, local perspectives, and comparative problem-solving Creathon about inclusivity.
And you delivered exactly that. Local insight, bold vision, and inclusive thinking. You worked in cross-border teams across different disciplines, languages, and realities. You exchanged ideas, challenged each other, listened deeply, and co-created something bigger than any project. For us, this event was part of a larger journey, a CIVIS journey.
You've not only developed problem-solving skills, teamwork, communication, and creativity, you've also actively contributed to the mission of the CIVIS Alliance, building a European academic space grounded in equality, participation, and student voice. So, with that all said, let's begin with the certificates for the organizing team.
Okay.
So, let's do
please,
it.
Panayotis Karanikas,
From National Capodistrian University of Athens.
Pinelopi Michaela Nazi,
From the National Capodistrian University of Athens again.
Vida Valmark,
Stockholm University.
Leon Fus,
Tübingen, University of Tübingen.
Heri Busquets-Cerdan,
University of Glasgow.
and of course, Katerina
from
Sina.
National Capodistrian University of Athens, and Anna Maria Belciu from the University of Bucharest.
Guys,
Yeah.
please come. Sorry. Come up, come up.
Sherry, Leon, Vida, and Penelope.
Maybe we can move here so we can take a nice picture with the organizing team. Come on, guys. Oh, thank you. Thank you once again, guys, for all the effort. And now we'll continue with the universities in a random order. The first one is Université Libre de Bruxelles. So we would like to invite Charlotte Lechat, Elena Metzinger, and of course, Laurent Demoulin is not here, but please come up and get the diploma for your colleague. Okay,
Congratulations.
Should we take a picture? I'm looking. Yes,
Yes.
I think we should. Maybe. Okay.
So the next team is from the University of Glasgow, sorry. So please come, Sajid, Rayali, Guerrero, Sofia, Takamido Woka, even she's not here.
Where is it? You have it? Let's move.
It's okay.
Next is University of Bucharest, so I'd like to invite Daria Eugenia Pericică to collect her diploma and her colleagues Denisa Maria Rășcanu, Nicola Alessandra Piantini, and Alex Darius Topai. You have them?
Yes. Oh. I did because
Uite aici. A ta. Nu, cealaltă.
Next one is Universidad Autónoma de Madrid. So please come here. Kazajuana Marlena, Elmar Curinur, Bombadilla Elizabeth Taule, Hernandez Nuria Marcia. Congratulations to all of you.
Next is Stockholm University. I would like to invite Ana Gabriela Cavagliano Martinez, Pablo Paras Ochoa, and Julia Hont to receive their diplomas. No. Now, please welcome Aishnur Gurel, Chansu Demir, and their colleague Yu Dong to receive their diplomas.
And the last but not least team from the National Kapodistrian University of Athens. Please come here, Simona Achilleos, Alexandros Antonopoulos, Alexandros Theofilaktou, Olga Achilleos, Maria Prokopiou. Congratulations to all of you. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to announce the winning team of the 2025 CIVIS Creathon. This team not only presented an outstanding proposal, but also impressed the jury with their clarity, originality, and inclusive approach to over-tourism. Their project stood out, but and more importantly, their collaboration did. So, let's all congratulate this year's winning team, which is...
Yes, Universidad Autónoma de Madrid!
So please come here again. Have there some goodies for you.
Yes.
Yes? Oh, yeah, of course.
By the way, guys from Universidad Autónoma de Madrid, please do not forget your prizes.
Yeah.
You left without them.
Oh, these are for you and for your teammates.
Yes. So, thank you all once again for your passion, your ideas, and your spirit.
Congratulations to all of you. You are all now part of this journey, the CIVIS journey, and we hope it's only the beginning for you. Thank you so much.
Hi there, can you hear me? Let me just hijack the stage real quick because I think one more applause is due to our phenomenal host of the plenary, Valerie. Did a great job also facilitating the Service Learning Awards events. Thank you.